So shall we open our meeting, and let's open with an invocation. Chuck, would you be willing to offer a prayer?
Dearly Father, we thank you for this opportunity we can come and service the city and the Parks Board. I pray that you would lead and guide us in our discussion and our deliberations, and may we do things for the citizens and not for ourselves. Amen.
Okay, and let's have the Pledge of Allegiance, guys. I can't remember if this board does it or not, but I guess we should. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Y'all know the other one? We'll excuse us from that one tonight. It's not posted up there, I guess. Okay, I guess I didn't officially say we've opened the meeting at 3:30. Okay. Okay. Election of officers is our first item. And I've been told that Mr. Stevens, Dr. Stevens, is willing to serve again as president. Is there a nomination for him?
So moved.
Okay, and a second? Okay. Gary and Daniel. I always want to call you John, I'm sorry. Okay, all in favor? Okay, vice president.
Would you do it?
I guess.
All right, I nominate her.
Okay.
Second?
Second?
Question?
All in favor? Okay. Now we still need secretary. I've been serving as secretary treasurer, and it's just honorary, although if you want to go in and demand to see the papers, I'm sure that Charles will show them to you. Do we have a nomination for secretary treasurer?
Nominate Gary Heinrich.
Okay. We have a nomination on the floor for Gary Heinrich. Do we have a second?
Yeah, what do we do?
You can go and speak to Mr. Williams about things, or it's just an honorary position. If we have faith in him, which I believe we do.
It's an honor for you to be here.
Okay, okay.
Can we get a second?
Do we have a second?
You have a second?
Did I? I didn't think I did.
No, you don't have a second.
I had a nomination.
I nominated him.
Okay, I need a second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, we're ready to go.
Yes, both.
Yes. Did you get all of that? This is sort of chaotic. I wasn't expecting to do this. I have no particular remarks, but I'm sure that either Mr. Martin or the city manager will have some comments for us.
Mine will be later during the, when we talk about the pickleball courts.
Okay.
Afternoon, everybody. A lot of things are going on. All subs, Tractor Supply, all these developments are still moving forward. So we've just been busy, hanging in there.
All steps moving?
Yes, they're actually applied for a demolition permit. I'm working on that for them right now.
What are they gonna tear down?
They're going to go on the corner of South College, so the old Wright Realty building, yes. Whatever it was
It was a filling station, wasn't it?
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll be removing that building and the concrete slab from the old warehouse that was there. I'll have to move a water line a little bit, but it's going to replace that old AC line, put a new 10-inch PVC line, so it'll be nice.
Anything else?
There's a lot. I could talk for an hour and a half, but no, we don't. You have any questions for me?
Are there any
Okay.
questions?
Tractor Supply, what are they at now?
We actually have a meeting with TxDOT tomorrow on the necessity of a deceleration lane. And we're going to discuss that later, I believe.
think there's enough traffic on Business 67 Warren?
TxDOT seems to think so, but they did an actual traffic study themselves, paid a firm that says, no, it doesn't warrant one. So we're having a meeting with TxDOT tomorrow to kind of discuss the options.
And that's on the hill?
It'll be just west of the Spanish church.
Well, I suppose there may be more traffic up there once it's in place. It's pretty slow up there right now.
Right. We have some different options, talk about maybe reducing the speed limit, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what TxDOT's response is.
Okay. All right, our next item is public comments. Is there anyone here today who would like to speak on an issue that's before us today, or something that isn't on our agenda? No? Okay, then we'll move on. Okay, our general items are review, discuss, and consider possible action regarding, and I don't have my regular agenda. I just have the red line thing here. So, approval of the Type B EDC Board Minutes dated March 19, 2024.
Move to approve with one exception, 6B, remove President Beeson, Vice President Beeson.
Get that? Oh, okay.
You heard him, okay. Is there anything else? Okay. Is there a second? We only have a few of us here. Go ahead. Gary, is the second, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. B, review, discuss, and consider approval of the financial reports for the month of March 2024. Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon, board. Excuse my time, I just got through traveling.
Is that microphone on?
Good afternoon, board. Excuse my attire first. I just got through traveling from the Austin area for the conference that I had to go to for the financial directors of Texas. So these are my traveling garb. So excuse me for that, first of all. Second, I'd like to present to you the March financials for the EDC board. First, I want to say good news with that, with the revenues for the month of March. A little over 25,000 came in for the EDCB board. Our projection is hovering around that amount. As you can see, the year-to-date is at $167,238. That's about 47%, a little under 3% from our target. That's still very good in this time. There's a lot of things going on with sales tax and dealing with the legislator. They kind of mentioned that, that in possibility of the last quarter, there may be a little dip. That came from the legislator himself in the conference. So, but right now we hovering right at our target, which is very, very good right now, considering all things factored in. Our expenses is at $102,415. That's at 39%. That's very conservative. Much thanks to Mr. Martin for keeping the expenditures down. Even when we go out to bid, we try to get the lowest bidder and the best bidder at the same time. So with that being considered, the expenses is quite low. Right now, in the money market account, on the next page, is at $511,757. That's a far cry from last year about this time of $418,000. That's almost $100,000 difference. Even though we are spending a lot more on a lot of things, we're still putting money in the bank from our savings. So much is done with that. A great job, to be honest with you, because I'll be sending you, through our city manager, a projection. If it's not in May, it'll probably be in June when we start the budget. That way, we'll get our mindset getting ready for the budget, which will be coming up in a month or two. If you have any questions, I'm here to stand for anything, for transparency or any reasons.
I missed that revenue number you gave us a while ago.
Oh, yes, sir.
I thought you said 25,000?
35077. It's the green column, third column,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bottom of the first page, 35077 for the month of
Oh,
March.
oh, the expenses was that.
Where's the revenue then? I'm
The
sorry.
revenue is right at the top, 167,238.
I didn't hear 167,000, but it may be my ear.
Oh, no, sir, it's no worries, sir. But for the month, we get 25% of the revenue from the general sales tax, so it came around about 25,000 of that amount. So that 25,000 is added into that 167.
Is there anything else that anyone would like to ask Mr. Williams? Okay. well,
Yeah, I
thank-
got a question.
Okay.
What do we pay for the park maintenance now?
Oh, thank you.
We were paying before 30,000 a year or something, excuse me.
Yes, I think that amount is,
So what are we paying now?
I think, let me go back.
Comes out of our budget here, doesn't it?
What was the question?
The park,
What are we
The
paying
total
for
park.
park maintenance?
for the year.
It should be,
33,000, well,
Well-
Okay, is that what we're paying to the guy who's doing the mowing here now?
we approved for the budget for the year, it looks like $90,950 for the entire year.
Yeah, we have a
But-
position split between facility maintenance and park maintenance as a part-time position, and then we have our mowing contract, which is separate from that.
Okay, and the
Right.
mowing contract is 33?
it's around about 30,000, yes, sir.
Right at 30,
But we weren't mowing for a while for some
correct.
hang-up or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was for 30 times a year, something like that, so they don't mow during the off-season. They were supposed to start back in April, but we had to bring them back sooner because
We had to
mowing
pay-
Right.
season
we had to
started
pay-
2 months sooner than usual.
Didn't we have our people, city people, go over and mow?
We were
Isn't that
trying
what
to
you
keep
told us
up
last
with it,
month?
but yeah, we weren't doing a very good job keeping up with it once the growing season hit early, so,
So we had to pay them to come again early?
yes, yeah. So that.
And that is in addition
Yeah,
to our,
yeah, that'll be a little bit
We
over,
chose them because they were the low bidder?
yes.
I did a little mowing over there myself. It was looking so bad, and I didn't know the story, so. I got the street from the creek all the way to the text dot and then around the pavilion.
How much you charge?
The bill's yet to come.
He's waiting for interest.
No, I just felt like it needed to be mowed. It was really looking bad.
okay. Do we have a motion to accept this report?
So move.
A second?
Second?
All in favor? Thank you. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Okay, item C, review, discuss, and consider funding a message board in the amount of but not more than $24,500. Is this your item to
Well,
explain?
yeah, I'll turn it over to Don. Don had a couple original quotes you see from All Traffic Solutions, and they do look to be a little bit lower. Not sure when you got these, Don, but, okay, 9 of 23. So I just pulled another couple offline, so you'd have 4 different things to look at. And some of the price differences are some of the capabilities, like if you want it to be solar power backup or different items where you can connect to it wirelessly and change the message and different things. So that's some of the price discrepancy. So you see 4 different prices there, 4 few different models, and so that's why we kind of left it open-ended on the not more than 24,500. So we wanted to get something in front of you, because I know you've been wanting to get some of these, so, or one of these.
So originally, I think we discussed maybe a multi-use board, one that maybe that had the speed on it as well. And so when I didn't see one on there that had speed, I went and got a quote for one with speed from the same company, which is on the buy board. And so it's a little bit more, but not much. But it would include radar. It would include the sign that you already included, right? It's a three-level sign. It would it's battery operated, so you either have to have solar to charge it or you have to plug it in to charge it. So we have to get the solar.
Okay.
If you buy one with a radar, it comes with data built into it, so it will track your speeds if you wanted that data for some reason. Let's say you wanted to see in a school district how fast cars are going over time. And so I don't know what the board thinks about getting one with a radar on it or not, that the city could use or not. If you don't want to use that, you don't have to use that feature. It's just on there.
What do you foresee it being placed at?
I think a couple things it could be used for. I think it's a good reminder to put in places that maybe we're speeding a little bit, where you don't want to write a ticket to somebody. I know when I see one that tells them to slow down, I usually do. I think that's a good thing. The police could maybe use it. I think originally we had talked about putting in a couple of these signs in front of, like, when there's something going on at the park or somewhere that, instead of having to pay someone to be there or put flags out, we could put a sign there that says, beware of the kids or slow down. You could even show the speed and say a sign like that. So I think that's what we originally wanted to do with these a while back.
Or if there's a fireworks show,
Or if there's a fireworks show, you could put a sign up that says turn here or whatever, so.
fireworks
So
on
I do have
Saturday.
one with that capability also, that 24,441. So
That has-
that one did have the K-band approach radar.
Oh, yes, it's
That
down there.
is
So
in it, so,
I got the price today from the same guy, and it is on the buy board.
okay, that
And-
helps too.
For 2 of them, it's 35,000. He said if you wanted one, it'd be half as much.
Okay.
So,
All right, that's pretty good pricing, so.
So, what you got is the same thing that he's got, but you went through buy board.
well, it's the same company. I was just talking to the salesman who said it is on buy board, and so you wouldn't have to
Okay.
go out for a bid. And the only thing I did was I went and asked him to add a radar to it, and then he says, well, if you're gonna,
Yours got radar?
One of these.
does it? Okay, good.
20%.
So, since we're all on the same page, we're just talking about what we want to get, so.
Yeah. And what's the impetus for having this?
So like I said, originally when we asked for the signs, it was actually brought to us, which is a good idea, about like when we have the fireworks, or maybe when the school is having an event at the,
Graduation.
yeah, at a graduation, or sometimes KISD will use the facilities at the park to have an event, and there's lots of kids and buses and stuff, that we could put a sign this way, say there's an event, slow down for the kids.
Somewhere on Old Betsy, tell them where.
One on either end, or one wherever we decided to do it.
Where can you park this thing legally?
I do not know. It's a trailer that you pull behind a car, and it's not very big. It has a tracker on it, so if someone were to steal it, you could track it, so. But if we wanted to get data out of it or change it remotely, I think after a year or two, that subscription expires and you have to get a Verizon. They do it. It's like a $12 a month fee. But anyway, it's cool. But that's why we wanted the signs it was brought to us originally for that, wasn't it, Don?
Correct.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is, it's a good idea. We like the idea. We just had never got a bid, so.
You looking to purchase one or?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Well, don't you feel like 2 is really the option if you're gonna have it for these events? You wanna have it at both ends of where you want,
One doesn't quite
Folks,
cover, one doesn't
doesn't
cover
quite
what we
cover
need.
the need.
Correct, and you said 2 for roughly 35,000?
Just the price I got him, I asked him to quote 2 from the same company. Yeah, 2 of them are 34,822.77.
And that was, which one? All traffic or,
That's all traffic. It looked like this. I had a picture if you want to see it. Anybody wants to see it?
That was the main reason, kind of when we looked at this originally, was mainly because they do have a lot of events there at the SWAU gym and the cross-country, and there's a lot of buses and people walking across the street. our Fourth of July parade, the Christmas
White versus
parade.
yellow.
Well,
And then
and
also, Public Works
Southwestern?
occasionally will have to shut a road down, and, we just have road closed detour signs, which, aren't that big, and people drive right by them. So there could be a lot of uses for them.
well, I can see it like for graduation.
Right.
There's a lot of people walking back and forth at that time, and the alumni weekend, I'm sure that if we had them, we would be using them a lot, all the
So
time.
can we split the cost of these up? Can we ask the university, can they help us fund it? Can we split it with the city, because the city police department's gonna use it, as well as 4B? Is that options there? We ask the college for a donation?
So it would be easier to split that up to the
Internally.
city, but we'd have to go through our budget process to,
Yeah.
to do that. So that would delay it. As far as the college, it would probably be, there's nothing saying we couldn't, had to run that through the attorneys.
Sure,
That'd have to
sure.
be-
I would think this would be an example of where our board could purchase something the city could use. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours.
Goodwill.
We do, yeah, we have a lot of uses. There's even emergency management.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something necessary for the city.
Now, I did notice a difference between like this yellow sign that he shows you a picture of and the white one that I have. This is a little bit bigger sign, just because they use it in a higher speed limit, like 55 to 70, where the one that we talked about with the radar on it, it's still a big sign, but it's not near as big as this big yellow one.
It's not a big unit.
It's not a huge unit, just because the speed limit's lower and you don't need as big a sign to grab people's attention, so.
Okay, so is there a preference?
Me personally, I like the one that has the radar on it so that we can put it in trouble spots and the police can use it if they wanted to, the city, every department could use it, right?
Yeah.
But if both came with radars, is there a preference on the
Oh.
size?
I don't care what-
The bigger one?
One,
Like,
one thing to keep in mind is we did have a smaller trailer that had the radar speed on it,
Yeah.
which the police department still has, but it hasn't been used in years. But the issue was trying to park it on residential streets.
Is it too
It
big
takes
or
up
what?
so much room, and then you would have to put it in somebody's front yard, or,
Didn't they used to put it along Fourth, though, and like going toward the Keene
right, we did that a
ISD?
few times, yes, down there. And it seemed to help for a little while, but it's kind of out in the street, and then, if a car parks in front of it, then you can't see it,
I know
so,
the white one, the picture I showed, is a more compact system. The yellow one.
right. And TxDOT does have some rules on how you can park them, where you can park them, and, but it's, you have to have a cone around them or something like that. And then it all depends on the speed limit of the area as well, so.
I would, if you could get a donation from somebody, but if you're talking about part ownership or they can use it part of the time you run into, I'd rather fund it myself than get into that, because it's nice to get a contribution, but then if they think they're part owner, why,
no, they wouldn't be part owner.
yeah, it's like Chucky having a hammer he loans out.
I don't loan hammers.
He doesn't loan his hammer.
I don't loan tools.
Hard to make a living that way. Okay, so are we wanting to take action on this?
I would like somebody that's been investigating this, tell us what they really recommend,
Well, do you have
whether it's
one?
orange, white, or whatever, or the bigger board.
Do you want to wait and move this forward to next month and bring back more information? Do you want to recommend one to
I
us?
mean, we can,
Today?
I'm over 80 years old. If we keep putting everything off, I'll not get it done.
What additional information are you looking for?
Me, none. I want you guys that have been searching this thing to tell me what.
Well, in all honesty and transparency, we've seen most of this for the first time today. We just asked for, with Don's help months ago, we had got the idea of having these signs to use for events. That's really as far as we ever went into it. I think any of the ones presented today would work. I just like the idea, personally, Donnie liked the idea of if you added a radar, you could have that feature to it if you wanted it. It's not very expensive to do it. And if you don't want to use it, don't use it.
So would you also recommend we have the bigger board? Can you do more with a bigger board, like bigger letters or what?
I'm sure it could be seen better. I think the problem with the bigger board, like the one you'd see in a construction zone, is it's as wide as a trailer.
Yeah.
And it's pretty big. And I think there would be limitations on where it could go, that's just my
Yeah, they
opinion.
cost more.
And they do cost more, by the way.
Well, yeah,
How much more?
if you get two or more of this 24,000 that has the radar, they're 23,894.93 instead of 24,441 apiece. So we're getting up to $50,000 to get two of them.
But if you plan on using it for the high school, you would be utilizing 67, and you would want something bigger that would be easily visible, as opposed to the smaller one.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever talked about having it out on 67. I think what we were talking about was mainly
Old Betsy.
the main thoroughfare through town when
On
the
2280
schools
or
have all those
Old
buses.
Betsy.
They had an incident, I think, didn't they, Don? Where there was buses parked and someone went screaming through and almost hit a kid or something. Is that what brought it up?
It happens a lot, yes.
So,
They have that cross-country thing that.
Right, they just
they
put up a
put on.
little, what is it, 36-inch sign on a,
Mhm.
kind of like a barricade, and there's no lights, there's no flashing, it's hard to see.
So that's where you envision it, 2280? On the shoulders of 2280 is what I see.
Right, it is a parking lane, so it would be fine putting it there. If you tried to put it on 67, it would almost have to be in the grass, out of the right-of-way, and again, TxDOT has a lot of rules, especially with a high-speed limit.
and I was trying to think of anything we've ever needed one there for an event. I can't think of one, but there may be one, other than graduation.
And you guys mentioned that, that's why I brought up.
Yeah, I think he was talking about Swallow's graduation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but 2280 is also a TxDOT road.
It is, but at least in those areas, there's a designated parking lane. You could put it at the edge of those parking
At
lanes.
the beginning, the
Right.
two.
Do you need two of them,
Yes,
one on each end?
yeah, it doesn't need to go without two.
I would think so. I mean, it's a little less because if you're coming from the south going north, you're going from a 35 to 45 mile an hour, so people are already going somewhat slow, or this way, they're going 45 to a 35. So,
Are you guys gonna cut into police revenue?
I'm sure they can generate plenty on their own. Okay, so do you want to move forward with this, and is there a motion?
Would it, there's an item that says 24,000. Would it change do we need to do anything different if we raise that to 35?
I think we can just amend,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we consider or we fund a message board as discussed,
Is it two?
two of them, not to exceed the cost of $35,000.
And is there a second on that?
Second,
Okay,
two.
Is that a?
all in
enough?
favor?
Okay.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to
Send
that.
that to the city manager, you can just have it.
Give that to Brett.
D, review, discuss, and consider a drainage improvement project for the softball fields.
that's kind of in reference to the map I gave you with my fancy little red drawings there around the softball fields. As most of you know, that big softball field's been shut down for over a year because of drainage issues. We have all that water that comes down off of Pioneer, goes right in between the two ball fields, and it just dumps right onto that big ball field. So I've discussed with some ball field contractors, and they gave me some quotes and recommendations, and, we were talking a whole bunch of money. I discussed it with our engineering firm a while back and again today, that there's a possibility. So basically what we would need, if you look at the map there, the red line coming off of Pioneer, sorry, I'm looking at it the wrong way.
Fairview.
So yes, Pioneer, you have in between softball field number 2 and number 3. That's a pretty big slope, probably about a 10-foot drop there from the walking trail from Pioneer down to those ball fields. So a lot of that water goes right in between those two fields and then dumps onto the bigger one. We already have a storm drain that runs down Pioneer, turns along where the walkway is, and dumps into the creek. So if we were able to tie into that and put 2 catch basins, one kind of in between those 2 fields closest to Pioneer to catch the majority of that water, and then have it tie in down with another catch basin down in the bottom, probably a 4-foot, 5-foot box with a grate on it. And then each field, you could do a smaller 4-inch, 6-inch, French drain around the infields, catch that water and dump into those kind of main trunk. So my thoughts were to you guys, because I know we don't have $400,000 to redo all this, is would you want me to get our engineers to design it? It would probably be a cost of about $10,000 to get the topography and lay it all out. And then if we purchase the materials, the piping, and then myself and maybe some of the public works or some of you that have some construction experience, we can have a little party, get together, and, on a weekend or something and kind of do it on our own. So I guess my question to you is, do you want to spend probably close to $10,000 to have it engineered properly to get all the topography and make sure everything is going to work right?
Okay. Any
No,
feedback? What do you want to say?
Nothing on Pioneer on the north side of the road to catch that water, huh?
No, there's a small one kind of at the top where if you, right at the end of Fairview, there's a small one, but the majority of the water comes farther down because it starts to slope down towards Old Betsy once you pass that point.
Is that that one's between your 2 gates, isn't it?
Yes.
On the north side of the street?
Yes, there's one on, by each gate, actually, at Public Works, and then there's another small one, kind of where the walkway at the edge of Fairview.
Well, you see, that water used to just go right through your field there, right through your parking lot
Right.
north, and then we raised that up many years ago, and I guess put that drain. Where does this drain dump at?
It dumps right where it comes under Old Betsy, like by North Park Mobile Home.
Okay,
It's right in, it kind of open daylights where the sidewalk kind of turns and then goes next to the creek and then over it. You can see there's
okay.
a 10-inch PVC pipe there.
But that's not sufficient to handle the water?
Oh, it would be. There's just no way for the water to get into it because it's pretty much closed from just this side of Public Works all the
Yeah.
way down.
Okay.
Don, that whole stretch of Pioneer is not curb and gutter, correct?
No, it's not.
Would curb and gutter be a cheaper option, and would it help
I think it would help, but you still have,
the rainfall on the fields itself?
right,
Yeah.
you still have all that open land where it hits, the sidewalk and then goes that
Right.
way.
Can you not elevate the ball fields?
That
20
messes, that messes with the playing fields.
No, I mean just the infield. I'm talking about the infield.
You can, but then you would have to redo the outfields and everything else as well. I mean, they all need to be redone, and this would be a good time to do it. I mean, but if you look at Field 1, if you go out there and look, all that, top, they only had maybe 6 to 8 inches of good dirt on top of there, and there's chunks of asphalt and concrete, and that's why I locked the fields. And
I just didn't know if you could get there a different way instead of putting the French drain in, which is, I'm not opposed to. If you could elevate the infield to get the dirt, to get the water to flow away from the infield.
Then you put it outside
if
the
the water
baseline.
was falling just on the field, then yes, that would be an option. You could slope it away to go into the grass. But we have all this water coming in between the 2 fields, off of Pioneer and down onto that first field.
Yeah.
Rainfall itself is not going to create too many problems unless you get a torrential downpour.
Curb and gutter.
But runoff is what you got to get rid of, and I don't
Right.
know.
Grant, I don't know.
Have your engineers talk about curbing and guttering the north side of that street? Actually, the street ought to be curb and guttered.
I mean, it should, and that would help some. That would keep some of the flow from the street getting into there, but you still have all that open space where that water, where's it going to go? It's a low spot in between those 3 fields.
But if you get rid of the runoff, you don't have as much problem with just rainfall.
You can eliminate some of it with curb and gutter, yes. But you-
Well, I think if you could keep the water from going through there somehow, what falls from the sky isn't as much of a problem as runoff. I don't know, have your engineers talk about that? I mean,
We did. We went out and looked, and we walked the whole thing, and we took measurements, and we looked at it, and then we kind of got busy on a bunch of other projects, and
did they talk about curbing and guttering?
we did briefly, but again, if you go out and look at the topography, even if you did the curb and gutter, the park itself, where you have the walkway, all of that is lower. So you still have all that area where the water's gonna catch, and it's gotta go somewhere. It's gonna go right down that hill. So like curb and gutter, you might eliminate 20-30% of what comes down that hill, but you're not gonna eliminate all of it.
What if you just put your main drain lines out in the grass between the fields and then elevated your fields?
I mean, we could do this in projects. If we did the main line with the 2 catch basins,
Yeah.
you know, kind of there, that would probably help a lot.
Yeah.
And then we could go back and maybe do just the big field right now to kind of help that. And then later on, we can come back and do the French drains around the other 2 fields. And so we can do it in steps.
Phases.
So if you get it engineered, what do you think it's gonna cost? Is there a per foot? Oh, you talked about us doing it internally, didn't you? I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah.
And
If
he's
we were to
looking
go
at
out for
you and you're
bids,
using the
you're
word
probably
us.
talking a couple $100,000 to have somebody do this.
Yeah.
But we could probably get our engineers to get the topography right, make sure there's enough fall everywhere, and that it's gonna work for probably around 10,000 or less. It all depends on how much they have to do. Or they could bill us by time, and it may not come out to that much, so.
Blake give us a discount on this, Donnie?
My son Blake, yeah. I was thinking about that.
He a civil engineer now?
Yeah, he is.
Okay,
So what are we gonna do about
What do you
this? Are
wanna
we
do?
gonna
Yeah.
make a motion to,
go
have
ahead
the
with
engineers look
engineering.
at? What do we have to do that?
Well,
Sounds like he's trying to get us to approve up to $10,000 for
for
engineering.
engineering.
That's what he's trying to do. Which,
So, does anyone want to make a motion to approve up to $10,000 for the engineering of this project?
So move.
Is there a second?
Only if we include a thought to curb and gutter on Pioneer.
As an alternate?
Well, that's gotta
Well,
be part of the engineering
I'd want-
report.
Yeah,
no, not originally. His,
Because that's,
Well, the
I can have a
engineer-
look into that, yes.
I'd want that to be a piece of the answer.
that would be cool if we could afford to do that for the city. And then you would eliminate, let's say, half of the amount of water, and then we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone with the same funds.
They can tell us what it'll do, and then we figure out what it's gonna cost, then we make
So
the
is that a
decision.
second?
Yes, that's a second.
that's a second? Okay, all in favor of moving forward? Okay,
Thank you.
that carries.
Thank you for this.
And that curb would run all the way down 2280?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would eliminate
Mhm.
that additional parking for now?
well,
Maybe we put parking in too, we don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, that parking there,
We've been talking about that.
Yeah.
That was on-
That
But
that
now-
park could turn into a sidewalk and then go in.
yeah, but that parking there isn't there some kind of problem with who owns that corner?
I believe the city does, but if you look at that, half of that is TxDOT's right away. So really, we couldn't put a parking lot on half of that anyways. 'Cause their right away
But
is,
they all park on it
yes, and TxDOT doesn't complain about it yet.
yet.
If we made it a permanent parking lot, they would probably complain.
Yes.
Be what?
A permanent parking lot, they'd probably complain.
Has anybody talked to them ever about that?
But
For a long time?
They've had,
Somehow I know about this.
Years ago.
it with the parking lot and a sidewalk in there right away and they approved it, right?
right.
Okay.
That piece of property had to be bought separately. The city didn't own that, when we went into the park. It belonged to the Richardson family that used to own all that. Going north here where they had their dairy, that line went right across to Old Betsy, and so there's a little piece we had to buy separately to get that, but, there would be room for some parking there if you wanted to spend the money to make it.
Right.
Because the right-of-way runs down, comes down across The King property on the south side, you can see where it goes. There's quite a little room there. And they park there all the time anyways.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
make mud on muddy days.
Okay, E, moving forward, review, discuss, and consider the application of Robert Chapman for appointment to the EDC Type B Board. Okay. Anybody have any questions about this? Want
Let's
Talk
let
to Mr. Chapman?
Mr. Chapman take the mic. He needs some mic time.
would you like to step forward and talk to us about this?
Yeah.
I noticed we really were your third choice, though.
Well, you know, actually, it was the first choice because that was recommended to me.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's kind of in my expertise, so to speak. So, I moved here 2.5 years ago. I'm definitely a part of the city. I want to make some positive things happen. And I thought if I started here, it'd be a good place to start. Good place to get to know other people other than just the council. I think that I'm the one that wants to talk to everybody, and I want to get everybody's opinion. I don't think that I know everything, and I don't think that anybody else knows everything. So that's what this is all about. It's all about a democracy. It's about learning from each other and voting together for a final purpose. So this is a good start for me.
Well, I can tell you're a lot younger than I am because I'm looking for a place to finish, not start.
I'm actually 65 a few days ago, so I retired from Denver, Colorado, and I've been coming here for about 23 years. I have some relatives here, and I liked it. I liked everybody I met, and I liked their friends, and I liked their family. I've only had an encounter with anybody a couple of times, but it was because of politics, and I probably let that get in the way of my better judgment, so to speak. So I'm good, though. I can help the team out. I can help the city out.
Actually, I know a lot about him already because Deborah was a friend of mine before you came along.
Oh, really?
Yes, and Sharon and Cindy, the other two girls, and Mom Rogers and Leonard Rogers.
All good people. May 7th, Deborah's going to rejoin me here in Keene and be my
Woo-hoo.
wife again.
Good.
So,
That's nice, good.
Thank you.
5 years.
I thought I heard a rumor.
Yeah, the rumor's true, every bit of it.
Okay,
Is this the only application? Nothing against you, I'm just asking. Is this the only one that?
it's the only one you presented to us, and I,
Correct. It's the only one we've received, yes.
Move to approve Mr. Chapman appointed to the EDC Type B Board.
okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome
Welcome.
to our board.
Appreciate it.
So we swear him in next time, or?
Yes,
It has to go before council.
council
the
has to
final-
accept
Oh, okay.
That would be May 2nd for council.
for council.
We have this every month, the same day, and it's 3:30. Gotcha.
Sure.
This meeting is what? Third
Third Tuesday of the
Tuesday.
month at 3:30.
Third Tuesday, I got it. Mark this down, because sometimes I get to wondering if I've slipped up.
Okay, yes, sir. Review, discuss, and consider the bids for the construction of pickleball courts.
Okay, so before we get started on this one, I'll tell you a little bit of bureaucracy we would go through should you want to move forward with getting pickleball courts. It is a big enough project to where you would have to post it for a 60-day public notice. So even if you wanted to move forward today, we'd have to have the 60-day public notice. And then after that, when we did move forward, they would pour the courts, and they have to wait 30 days for them to cure before they put the surface on. So there's still a process here. So that's what. But we went out for a full request for proposal for 3 pickleball courts to USA Pickleball Standards. And in your packets, you have the RFP that went out, and you have the 3 bids that we did receive. and with their information also as well in your packet. And I am happy to go over any of those if you would like. We had Kevin Kopp as one of the bidders, Cortex as another one, and then Fence Fanatics as another one. As you know, Kevin does a lot of a concrete business around town. Cortex, I did check them out, and they're kind of a specialty company in this. And then our Fence Tech.
Does Fintex have a price without the lights? I know you said remove lights.
Let's see, yes.
Did they give it separately, or did they just,
I was looking at your summary sheet, that's all.
Yeah. We tried to compare apples to apples on some of these. It was a little bit difficult because everyone wanted to do something just a tad bit different,
Lights,
whether it's the fence height.
excavation?
Yeah, correct. Let me see. Fence Fanatics did have a price for that lighting. Yeah, you would subtract 18,000 for the,
It's all the lights are costing? Wow.
4 lights?
so, we heard you last time.
Thank you.
Wanted to look at pickleball courts, so here they are.
Hey, does
I
anybody,
happen to know the gal that started all this mess. I told her she needed to send that to the B-board a long time ago. So the bids, let's see, Kevin's got 144,000. Oh, that's the sheet,
Yeah.
okay.
I have a question about Cortex bid. Does their bid include lights? I know there's a base bid of 85, and then there's 3 options. Did your price in the summary sheet include option 2?
Option 2, yes.
So what,
So, well, excuse me, furnish, install, black vinyl coated chain link. Again, in our endeavors to kind of compare apples to apples, that was as close as we could make them. I don't believe there included lights.
I didn't,
here, furnish and install single LED light fixture wired to the base, blah, 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 2,500 each. How many would they recommend they wanted lights?
How many courts are on this court?
4. What I said, 4, I saw some.
Question was, how many courts are there in these bids?
Don, do you think if we put the pickleball courts up, we could talk to United Cooperative again about lighting those if we wanted to?
I'm sure we could, yeah, they did the basketball courts. Basically didn't charge us anything, just the $8, $10, $12 a month per light. Like a street light.
Can we ensure when we pour this concrete, it'll drain after it
Yeah.
rains?
Yeah, we'll make sure this time, for sure.
yeah,
Because that's kind of a nightmare. I know you
Down
guys
there.
can sweep it off.
That was an assumption last time, and it was a wrong assumption.
yes.
It's actually 3 pickleball courts.
Yes.
Chuck, I told you wrong, it wasn't
Okay.
4.
So they're each 30 by 60.
Says the entire overall size is 60 by 90.
Right, so you divide the 90 by 3, and you get 30 by 60.
Yeah.
They're 30 wide and 60 long.
So they're,
Is that what pickleball?
I think the court is smaller, but I think with the outline
Yeah.
around it with some extra
Yeah,
space.
Need a little room.
so they were figuring, that one company was figuring 4 lights, so they're using the middles.
What's concrete going for? Are we 4 inches?
That's what the quote was for.
Yeah,
4
and-
inches, 3,500 PSI.
Yeah.
And
What's
It
that
looked like
going
Kevin
for a
said
foot
it was
now?
paying,
Ask Mr. Bells, he would know, I don't know.
Bales,
It's 8 to 12.
concrete,
Flat
4
work,
inches
yeah.
thick. What's it going for now?
Flat work, 650, but I haven't seen any of those plans, I don't know what.
Yeah, I was just asking you what concrete.
Flat work, 650,
That's 4 inches of it, I guess.
4 inch with 383 bar.
Yeah. Seems high,
Yeah, the coatings too.
yeah. There's a difference between Mr.
Well-
Tubbs' quote coating and the Cortex coating.
and then the one
Which is
guy,
good.
he isn't doing any excavation, so you have to bring somebody else in to excavate, do the excavation? Is that correct?
Which one?
Oh, the one that was 85,000 apiece?
Cortex,
There, let me see what they're,
I thought,
So, the electric and water provided by customer.
I don't see that right now, but pricing based on a clear level accessible location with less than 1 foot elevation fall.
Yes,
Little
they do have some. Under the exclusions, let's see. No, that should all be the same. There is one that does have the ability to get a set of engineered plans.
That was-
At an extra.
Cortex,
Yeah.
you can add engineering if you need it, but
Right.
why do we need it?
I
So,
think the site we discussed was next to the new pavilion and the new bathrooms for that reason. And there is probably about 2.5, 3 foot elevation difference from the west side to the
East
east
side to
side.
the
We had to bring a good bit of dirt in for the,
Right, or, yes,
Is that where the market was, the Christmas market?
yes.
Would that
Where
factor
we
into the
had
Christmas market at
tree
all?
Last year.
so when we walked around a year ago, whatever, I thought we were gonna do pickleball courts where the volleyball courts
Used to
were.
be.
That was kind of a good option, but when Mr. Troy Smith was here and some of the others, because pickleball is supposed to be, quote, for an older crowd,
Yeah,
it just should be closer to the restrooms.
okay.
So that's why we chose
I
that
can
spot.
appreciate that, I mean.
Yes. Otherwise, if it was out there where the volleyball courts are, it's kind of in the middle of the park,
In
and
the
you have a
middle.
long walk to
Yeah.
the restroom. So,
there aren't that many old people playing pickleball.
Well,
You'd be
what's your
surprised.
definition of old?
How old?
Older than me, 85.
keeps
and
moving.
up.
Yeah.
In the
that was
40s
kind
and
of the thinking on why we wanted to put them there, is because it was close to the restroom. And you do have shade under the pavilion. If there was a waiting line, they could sit in the shade under the pavilion while they were waiting to play.
So what are you ever gonna do with that, what you have up there, that space?
That's
later
item
discussion.
number next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I read ahead.
Okay,
What's
Yeah.
on the next item?
I did.
Skateboard.
Oh, gotcha.
Skate.
What do we, well, before we get off this, I served on a board one time, and we'd go till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and never do anything. Never passed anything.
Well, we're passing
Well,
everything today.
What's different about this board?
ESD. But that changed. And so this one here, we need to talk about, he said if we wanted to do this, do we have to let the bids, or do we have to put stuff in and, what do we
What's the
have to
next
do?
step today?
Oh.
If we decide, hey, we're ready, let's go.
Yeah, if you're ready to pull the trigger,
Do we have to accept one of these bids today?
we would award the contract. And
Okay.
We would, well, excuse me, we would move forward with the 60-day public notice before we
Okay.
award the contract.
But we don't have to award the contract now to move on.
Yes, he said, well,
No, I don't
Well,
believe we
then-
do.
But we do need to know for the public notice how much we're spending, and so we would need to,
Well, we can say a maximum of something
Yeah,
and move on, and then we can work on bids.
Yeah.
Because
Alright.
if your bids are not the same or apples to apples, then how do we know what to do?
yeah. Well, so these are
I
as
got it.
close as we could make them with our tabulation,
Okay.
so.
So I got a motion to make. I make a motion, we move forward with the pickleball courts to not exceed $150,000.
Okay,
Second that motion.
okay.
can we
I'll-
discuss it now?
Okay.
So what do you mean, is that the right motion for us today?
Yeah.
I believe so. That gives us the latitude to put the public notice out. Don,
We have 2 bids under
Ollie,
150.
say,
Right. Under projects and V-board projects, if they're over a certain dollar amount, I believe it's 50,000, you have to have public notice. You have to do something on their website, social media, and list, like we talked about at the last meeting. You know, these are 8 of the projects we would like to do, and you kind of get a survey from the public
yeah, that's the
during that
60 days.
60-day time frame.
Yeah. Then after that, then we can award them.
Then we can award.
And then if, let's assume that maybe one of these bids came in a little bit lower.
We can choose someone lower. We just can't go higher.
And these are the 3 only bids that we got.
Yes.
But when we put the public notice in, we could get more. Mr. Bells has a question.
Yes, Mr. Bells?
I was a little bit concerned about the comment about bringing in a little fill dirt.
Yeah, that's,
I want to remind you that 3.5 feet is a lot, and it's at least, well, I just filled in 6 feet, and it was $40-something thousand. So 3 feet's going to be 20,000. Be sure and keep that in.
and that's why I was asking about it, because Mr. Cupp's bid includes fill dirt.
I haven't seen the bid.
Yeah, Mr. Cupp's bid is about $20,000 more than the lowest bid, which doesn't include fill dirt. But Mr. Cupp's bid does include fill dirt.
And I think I heard you say that it comes in on a level surface, so these other folks are gonna be more than 20,000.
Yeah.
I don't care who gets the bid, you just need to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
As long as we can move forward with Mr. Geasley's
proposal.
proposal, or,
It gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
We haven't inked anything yet.
does that work, Don?
And we've met all the other criteria.
So far,
So was this one of our CIPs for the year?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so it's already in our budget.
No,
Oh, they'll approve it.
Okay,
sorry.
okay. Anything else that needs to be brought up?
Vote.
You need to.
Well, I know, but we were having discussion.
No, it's a time to
Okay.
discuss.
Okay. So let's call for the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? No? Okay, it carries unanimously. Pretty soon that park is gonna be so full, we'll have to look for a new park.
That's a good thing.
Let's see. Review, discuss, and consider bids for the creation of a skate park. Who,
And this is kind of along the same lines about what we talked about for the last few months, was all the different projects that we like to see. And I know one time a skate park was mentioned, so it finally was able to reach out to somebody, and they just gave me some quotes. As you can see, they're attached on the next couple of pages. And this is just one company I met, did a little Zoom meeting with. And so if this is one of those projects you want to list on the choose your, these are the projects we wish to do and do a survey, this just kind of gives you an idea. And I think it would be a great use of that area where those old volleyball courts are. Because right now, there's not much use for them.
How much
There.
space is there?
There were 2 volleyball courts up there, however big they were.
Roughly the size of CTA gym.
Yeah, it's a pretty good space.
mhm.
Well, you kind of have the map there, and I think it shows it.
80
does.
by 50, 50 by 80.
So, Don, in these nice little 3D drawings, are all the ramps concrete, wood? What are we looking at?
Look wood, look wood.
They look
They
wood.
look like.
That scares me.
wood.
I believe it was a combination of both, but I know in their bid, it would say the concrete slab was separate, so this does not include the concrete slab.
Oh,
Oh, it does.
oh,
Right.
oh.
I thought the price was cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. I got excited.
Yeah, it's, if you look at the email, I think it was in there. Yeah, it says only include shipping, installation, and the equipment, and not the cost of the concrete pad needed.
Mm.
So just to give you some ideas, if you thought about a skate park, which I think this is probably not a bad idea versus the older, like when I was talking to those guys, I grew up in the 70s in California, and we used old swimming pools or drainage, and we're all
They still do.
concrete, and those are probably 3 times the cost of these, where they're made out of steel and wood. And you could go with some smaller options and do one small one and see if it works, and then you can kind of add on to it.
Would this be a nice project to try to do a matching grant with?
It would be, yes. Yes.
So how would we move forward to engage someone to help us create that grant process and apply for the grant, a matching grant?
We've actually been talking to our grant administrator about that, and I believe we have a deadline of next month to
Yeah.
have some things together, but one of the things is getting it posted on our social media of projects and kind of get some input from the public. And it basically would be a dollar for dollar match.
So what kind of a, go ahead, what kind of a motion would you need today to get that ball rolling, where we could?
probably just
I don't-
add it to the list of,
Right, I don't think we
Items
need a
to-
motion on this,
yeah.
unless you wanted to say, hey, let's build that one. then we would add it to our other list, but
Do we have skate parks around here anywhere? Cleburne
I think
has?
Cleaver just announced they're building one, right?
And Alvarado has one,
And Joshua has one.
Joshua.
I think I've seen theirs. It's called concrete though.
Are they used a lot?
They're used.
Like the
It's-
basketball court here?
it's growing in popularity, not only in, just for skates, but the little,
Roller.
BMX bikes,
Inline skates.
and then they have the little scooter ones, and there's a lot of different modes of transportation you could use on these now versus just the old, when I grew up, skateboard.
and Southwestern has a skate park.
Oh, they do have a little one, right?
So just something to think about, to throw out there to the public and kind of get some feedback on some different projects that the community would like to see.
We make a motion to
Do
add
we-
it to this
do we need
public thing.
a motion to add it on then for this consideration and put the stuff out on social media and all these steps?
We don't need a motion now.
Okay, you can
I'll
add it
just-
to that list,
just
so
add it
we
to the
just
list that-
ask you guys to continue to investigate it and come back next
That's-
month?
Right.
I'd like, yeah,
That's the only one I had time to reach out to, and they got back to me.
I'd like to more focus on engaging someone to make sure we apply for the
Grant.
grant from the state and.
Yeah, he stopped by a month or two ago and he asked me which ones we wanted to apply for, and I told him all of them.
Of course.
He said, he said, even the matching ones? I said, well, I'll try and find, if someone wants to give me $1, I'll give them,
I'll match their dollar.
Yeah,
Because,
So, is he working on it?
yes.
who's he?
So,
The grant?
what is it?
Jake McAdams.
Jake McAdams.
Because
From
this goes back
Public
to our original
Management.
3 year ago with Molly, was creating a master plan for our park, which included the land over there on Fourth Street, and making maybe a dog park over there with a sidewalk that attached to, a
Walking
master plan, and it apparently was a stronger grant approval for a
Yes.
bigger project that included more of the community. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And every grant that pops up that we're eligible for, he gives me a call, email, and we talk about what it is and what it entails and the scope. And, yeah, a lot of these are weighted heavily that way about how much of the community it impacts and stuff like that, so.
So I guess as a board member, I'm confused on what you need from us as far as direction to take full advantage of that. And, I mean, we don't have an approved master plan for our community for parks, right?
Well,
We have one from 20,
I
It's
had a
quite
bound one
old.
that we had years ago, but
Right.
I threw it away when I said, there's no way we'll do this.
yeah.
But-
So, I mean, technically, that would say, yes, we have one, to meet
But it's
the
at least 6
grant
or
criteria. We do have a park master plan. It is a little outdated, yes, but we do have one.
Yeah, at the moment, we don't need anything until, basically, we walk through the steps until, he says, okay, here's the information, this needs to go to B board, or then we'll put it on the agenda.
In the years past, we have always missed this deadline. It's got neglected, and we've just always missed it for 3
and then
years.
we're back to
And we're back,
square
well, let's do
one.
it next year.
Yeah.
So,
And then we wait till this late in the year and we miss the deadline.
Yeah. Well, Kit keeps me on track pretty much all the time, so. We won't miss the deadlines
So
of
we
grants
won't?
we're eligible for, so.
okay,
Okay,
so we don't need a motion, or we
I
need?
guess we don't need a motion, just ask you to follow up on it and get back with us. And you're going to try and bring something back next month.
Yes.
Okay. Number 7, item 7, executive session. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, the board may convene into executive session at any time during the meeting that a need arises for the board to seek advice from the city attorney as to any posted item and by the following authorities. Section 551.076, deliberation regarding security devices, security cameras, and access control. So we're having an executive session.
Have an executive
today.
session? Okay.
Can you please call the time?
Oh, sorry, 4:34. Thank you. Okay. Where's my agenda? I'd like to call the meeting back to order from executive session at 4:59. Okay. Is there a motion regarding the security devices for the park?
I'd make a motion that we accept the security cameras as discussed in executive session.
For the 10-year program?
Yes.
Second?
And a second? All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, requests for future items on the agenda.
We threw it all at you today, so.
Yeah, it was good. 5 o'clock.
What would it take to talk to TxDOT about coordinating a sidewalk between our park and the existing sidewalks, maybe either at the university or on the
So
TxDOT
Anna
right?
talks with TxDOT on the crosswalk issue.
Okay.
Make a much better crosswalk there.
Uh-huh.
The delay is that they do plan on doing some work on 2280 in the near future.
Uh-huh.
When they do that, I have some funding sources to make a really nice crosswalk with nice lighting and street.
Where are you talking about it?
From the gymnasium to the pond. So as far as the sidewalk project goes, I have briefly talked with Southwestern about, that portion, but, I've seen kind of a loose master plan of tying all that together. But we're no closer on that.
So I guess my question again is, what would it take to start a dialogue officially with TxDOT about taking a sidewalk from our existing park to either the existing SWAU's park or all the way down to the TxDOT's sidewalk in front of the SWAU gym?
Yeah, and I can ask them, yeah.
From Pioneer to Lewis Lane.
On the east side or the west side?
That or, years past, we talked and there could be a collaborative agreement where we could take a sidewalk into the SWAU's / gravel,
Yeah,
whatever.
walkway.
Yeah, walkway, uh-huh.
I didn't specify which side of the road, just that distance.
Yeah, that,
Well, B-Board can do like park to park. So technically, their park and our park could be connected. So if you went
Park to
on the other side to the gym, that may not qualify as a B-Board project,
But if we go across,
so the,
which would be another issue with the speed limit there.
well, that's an issue to discuss, I think. That's why I want to talk to them
Yes,
about it.
yeah, I mean,
I
it would be a good start.
In my mind, all along, it would be, it's ironic that we're talking about this because we talked about the curb and gutter on Pioneer. I always thought that parking lot we use about that property you talked about, that becomes a parking lot, and from there becomes an official crosswalk, and then we do a sidewalk all the way up to the dam or somewhere in that area.
I'd like to see the speed limit lowered too.
Yeah, anyway, all those things, it's a dialogue with TxDOT, and if they're gonna do work there, well, this would be a great time to be talking to them about that.
Well,
so.
you know what? I ought to see if I can get him to come to our next meeting.
That would be great. I mean, how do we?
New
so
engineer
we-
there, and he could answer a whole lot of those questions.
Is he gonna still be here?
Yeah, hope so.
I think so.
They've had as much turnover as we have.
So I know we talked about what it cost, we have to engineer, all that was great. What does it take to get that ball rolling?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I do think
Well,
he's supposed to be our speaker for May for the chamber luncheon.
Okay, so, and we are meeting with him tomorrow at our meeting. So, yeah, I can find out. I'd like to get him here.
The issue on quality of life? Quality of life funds, I think you could use them to put the sidewalk in, but if he's gonna put it on highway property, then you'd have to involve TxDOT. But it'd be best if you could run it on the east side so you wouldn't have two crossovers, but that east side's a pretty tough place to build a sidewalk.
It is.
And you were saying park to park, it isn't as much red tape if we go park to park, right? Because then that falls under our purview to use our funds for that. But if it's just in text
No,
doc,
I disagree with him. I say quality of life.
okay,
The
so quality of
sidewalk
life trumps it all, you think?
Wherever you wanted it, but if you had it on TxDOT property, you would have to have their permission, and
Probably some engineering.
I see.
Well, my thought with crossing the road there in front of the depot would be that if we ever thought bigger, we could continue a sidewalk on that side all the way to City Hall, right? You know, so theoretically, if I was retired in Keene and living on Fourth Street, I could technically walk all the way to City Hall to pay my water bill.
I mean, if he's retired, you wouldn't be able to walk that far, Donnie.
It's possible, but, I mean,
Yeah. Electric scooter.
I saw somebody go by my house the other day on a golf cart.
But you guys chase that on quality of life, but I'm of the opinion that the type B board's funds could be used for a sidewalk all the way.
We'll look into that.
all I want is just start a dialogue.
Yeah.
And tell us what we need to do next, so.
Okay, anything else?
So maybe he can come talk to us at our next meeting, or she, or whoever.
It's, if there is nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn? Okay, second?
Second the
Okay.
motion.
Thank you for coming.